This is Life Body Business Impact with Fatima. Welcome friends, I am so grateful to have you here. I'm your host, Fatima Ingalls, fitness expert, best-selling author, lifestyle entrepreneur, founder of the Life Body Business Fit Systems and co-founder of the amazing Freedom Retreats. My mission is to positively impact 10 million lives, to inspire you to wake up and live from your bucket list of dreams instead of waking up one day with a bucket list of regrets. Get ready to be inspired with weekly episodes and interviews that disrupt your thinking and motivate you to build your best life, body, and business. To change one life is to change many, so come with me now and let's get started with yours. Hey there, beautiful people. So great to have you with us today. Wherever you are joining us from, I am so happy you are here. Shout out to my listeners in Brazil, US, Philippines, the UK, Australia, Canada, and around the globe. Thank you for being here. Today, I'm chatting with the beautiful Lisa Wolny, mum of four and global entrepreneur extraordinaire, all the way from Calgary, Alberta, in Canada. Lisa is a powerhouse of a woman, a WBFF pro fitness model, health and business coach, and a top 1% worldwide network marketing professional. She's the have-it-all girl, but this was most certainly not always the case for Lisa, and she will share a little bit about that soon. Now, I was lucky enough to bump into Lisa at a business event we both attended, where I mentioned to her at the event, it was a 5-day event, and I had only brought 5 outfits because I thought it was actually a 5-day event. It was actually a 6-day event. Correction there. Lisa, being the beautiful, thoughtful woman that she was, actually brought a dress down for me the following day so that I had enough outfits for the event. So how beautiful and thoughtful is that? Lisa, welcome to the show. It's so great to have you here.
Oh, thanks for having me, Fatima. This is so fun. Who would have ever thought we'd be here when, I was bringing down that dress that day?
I know. So yeah, we've known each other for almost a year now, and
I know.
I think you've got so much amazing stuff to share with our listeners. So I'd love to start with you telling us a little bit about your journey and what the Have-It-All Girl is.
Wow, where do I start? Well, I'm just going to keep it really, really brief for the sake of time. But basically, as a mom of four, I found myself years and years ago. I mean, I'll be 49 in a couple of weeks, and I have no problem sharing that. But back when I was 30 and I actually had 2 small children at the time, I suffered a massive stroke. At the hands of just a neck manipulation that went bad. And it was interesting because it was my health, because I was so fit at the time, that is ultimately what saved me. But I was left with extensive cerebral damage in the cerebellum. So it took me 3 years to fully recover. And, but mindset is everything, mindset and faith and everything that pulled me through. But it was interesting. I had all these side effects, but one thing that didn't happen was I didn't lose my voice. And that was a big joke around. And I mean, we had to keep things light. We truly, we had to. And I knew that for me, this was, I truly believe God gives you what you can handle. And I was, this happened to me, and so many people learned from this, and they chose to live their lives differently because of this. It was a wake-up call for so many others. And it was interesting because not that I didn't need a wake-up call, but I was the one. I felt that this message was being channeled through me, if that makes sense. So it was, I just kept looking for how I was going to use my voice. I'm like, gosh, you know what? I really feel that I have a responsibility to deliver this message to the world about being proactive with your health, because truly without your health, you don't have it all. You have nothing. You can have all the money in the bank. You can be driving the fanciest cars and have, even a beautiful family, all of that stuff. But if you're not around to enjoy it, or you can't fully enjoy it, right? It's super tough. And I mean, life is just not, we want to be thriving, not just surviving.
100%.
So then fast forward, I was searching, and I was told that after having a stroke that I couldn't have any more children. And lo and behold, I found myself surprisingly pregnant at 38, and then again at 39. Oh my gosh. 15 months apart. Yeah.
And you already had 2 children?
I did. And they were almost 11 and 13 at the time. So here I had 11-year gap between my 2 older kids and 2 younger. And I found myself in a state of overwhelm, complete state of overwhelm. And I mean, I was so grateful for these, 2 little gifts. But on the other hand, I was actually, I hate to say it, but I was somewhat resentful. It had turned my life completely upside down. I had never gone through depression. I really found myself having thoughts I'd never thought about. I started drinking a lot. I was reaching for wine, at pretty soon it was like, okay, 4 o'clock on a Friday, which was, that was fine. But then it became, Wednesday at 3 and then Tuesday at 2. And basically I was using that to cope. And I had never done that before. I'd always been this strong person, and I taught nutrition. I had been a fitness trainer, and I had done all of these things. And I thought, like, oh my gosh, what is happening to you? Who are you becoming? So I pretty much hit my all-time low. I smashed a wine glass in the sink. It was kind of like noon on a Monday. I looked at myself in the mirror and said, like, what is happening to you? Who's the firecracker? Where is she gone? Like, who is this person staring, at you in the mirror? I was 35 pounds overweight. Again, very, very depressed. I mean, I was looking at these two beautiful babes, and I was angry. And I knew that my family deserved more. I deserve more. My children deserve more. My husband deserved more. And I made a decision to change on the spot. And that's the thing, is that, our decisions, we can choose to change at any given moment. Any given moment. And that was mine. And that was just started a journey where I just, and that's where the network marketing journey came in. I, relied, I had these products somebody had shared with me, and I said, oh, okay, I'm so desperate, I'll put them to the test. They've worked so well. Pounds and inches were melting off, and all of a sudden I had this pep in my step, and I was laughing again. And my daughter's like, oh my gosh, whatever you're doing, Mom, don't stop. And I said to her, well, I wasn't that bad. And she was 13, and she looked at me and she said, Mom, you were awful. Wow. And it was like a knife just stabbed me in the heart. Mm-hmm. But you know what? She was telling me the truth, and I knew it, and I couldn't argue with her. But that was, again, those moments in life where, we just pivot, right? Like it's just those moments where we can go down one road or the other. And that was just fuel. That was just fuel on the fire for me. And I just set some extreme goals. And in the process of that, I worked on myself physically. I wanted to win the company's body transformation challenge, and take my body to, a level I had never taken it to before, even as a trainer and stuff. So I did that. So I was very, very focused. So I know the power of a vision and a goal. And, it was just, I saw that. I looked at that every single morning, and that was my focal point. And, nothing was going to get in my way. And people thought I was crazy, and I didn't care. I'm like, listen, you're not living my life. I'm living my life, and I'm setting such a positive example for my kids. And, I'm becoming fun again. I'm fired up again, right? I'm living. I'm not just, existing. And so many people in life are just existing. And I was truly living, and people wanted what I had. They're like, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, whatever it is, I want it. I want to be like you. I want to look like you. Like, you are having so much fun, the energy coming off of you. So that was the thing. I went from this, train wreck, smashing, wine glass in the sink, to becoming this person very, very quickly. And that's how fast we can change. Truly, I'm living proof of that. That people wanted a piece of. So I just started sharing. I started sharing what I had. I started sharing these products, and all of a sudden I started getting paid and everything. And that's when I really looked into the business model, and I went, oh my gosh, I can do this. I can do this in the cracks of nap time. I can do this in the cracks of diapers. I can do this. Dishes can wait. All of a sudden I had such a huge vision and mission to not only help people transform their themselves physically, but I also saw the financial need for so many families out there that an extra $500 a month, if I could help them make that, which was very, very simple to do, that would save most marriages. So I just became very, very passionate about helping families, thrive versus survive, both physically and financially. And, it's amazing when you have a mission and a vision and a passion, what we're truly capable of doing. And it's just been just a phenomenal journey ever since. And that was about 8.5 years ago that whole journey began.
It's been such an amazing transformation from your book and from what you have shared. And I thank you for sharing all of that, Lisa. There are a few really important points in there, but I wanted to go back to talking to you about feeling resentful, because that's something that, people don't like to admit, especially when it comes to family. And there are a lot of people listening that are mums or dads, that are parents, and struggle between wanting to follow a passion and have a career, but still be an amazing and wonderful parent and be there for their children. So can you talk to me a little bit about feeling resentful? Why were you feeling resentful when you had 2 unexpected pregnancies and 2 young children? Although I know you absolutely love and adore them, what was going on for you there?
Well, and that's such a great question, because I've shared this on stage so many times, this whole resentful piece. And it's probably the piece that people come up to me the most after, particularly moms. And they're crying. They're bawling, and they're going, oh my gosh, thank you for sharing that, because I just think some days I'm the worst person in the world. And you sharing that has helped me so much. And I'm like, listen, here's the thing. We're not perfect human beings. Okay. I love all four of my children, every single one. But if anybody's a parent, you know that parenting is not easy. And especially if you have, like for myself, I didn't realize it at the time, but I was certainly struggling with postpartum. I would have never admitted that at the time. I'm a strong woman. I'm a strong mom. Are you kidding me? I'm like, nobody can break this, this pillar of strength, right? And we're all that. And all these people used to come up to me and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I don't know how you do it. You got two kids in high level hockey and you got these two babies in this double stroller. And wow, you just, I don't know how you do it. You got it all together. And I used to go back into my car and I would break down into tears and go, oh my God, they have no idea. Like, I'm a hot mess, right? Like, they have no idea. And you guys, none of us know what's going on behind closed doors. And I think that's something, right? And I think that's something we always have to remember. So when you're looking at pursuing something, and trust me, when I started on this journey, I had some very lofty goals and there were sacrifices. But what I did, and this is what I would really, one of the things that I would really, suggest to a lot of, the parents that are out there that are going for their big goals and maybe they have to be away from their kids and, going through stuff, is that you have to first start by communicating with your family what your goals are. Do you know how many people I coach and they're doing this in secret? They have all of these wants and desires and, these dreams, and they just feel that, they're hiding and they can't share it with the ones that are closest to them. And we all know, I mean, sometimes the people closest to us are not the most, are not our raving fans. And that's usually because of fear, right? Right, Fatima? Like it's usually because of fear. So what started happening was even when I was transforming my body, so maybe, somebody that's listening that maybe is looking at doing a physical transformation, for instance, is that you will get the dream stealers. Trust me, you guys, they're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. And more often than not.
Sometimes they're sleeping right next to you, right?
Right? I was going to say
that is
that, right?
One of the hardest things. How do you deal with that? So you say it is important to share and communicate these goals. And I understand people doing it in secret because I've done that myself. I've done it in secret when I first wanted to compete. I was so afraid that with my own fears that I wouldn't be able to do it, that I wouldn't be able to achieve the goal, that I thought I'd keep it a secret because then there wouldn't be accountability, but also what other people thought, how they impose their limitations and their fears onto your dream. And I look at it as, or goal, as like a little baby, a newborn baby, and you don't want to expose it to illness, this dream, this goal. So what do you say to people when you're coaching them and your team? You want them to share, but how do you stop?
Okay, so I'm going to just go back to some of the feelings, some of the things that I was getting, because I always go back to personal experience, right? Which always helps me as a coach. So one of the things was I wanted to transform and I wanted to win this competition, whatever. It was paying out, oh my gosh, $120,000. I had a better chance of controlling that than winning the lottery. So I bought a magazine at Costco of all places. It was $9.99, and I came home and my husband looked at it on the counter and he said, well, what is this? And I said, it's a fitness model. It's a, whatever, it's a fitness book. And I said, I'm going to look just like her. And he looked at me and he laughed. And he said, trust me, he loves me dearly. We've been married for 25 years. Yeah. But he laughed and he said, you know how hard that is? Basically good luck with that, right? And the thing is, he didn't want me getting disappointed. And this is often, it's because of their fears. It has nothing to do with you. It's their fears, and they're just projecting that on you. So that, for me, though, I'm a pretty stubborn person. And when I put my mind to it, that was like, and I don't know if he was doing it psychologically because he knew it pissed me off so much, but I tell you what, I took that and I was like, watch me, just watch me. Oh yeah. So you know what? You have two choices. You can either curl up in a ball and start crying and just let everybody dictate which direction your life is going, or you can just go, you know what? You can take it. And I've got some choice words. I won't share them, but anyway, you know where I'm going with this, and go, just let it fuel you. Let it fuel you. And you know what? Hey, I was doing things I was a morning person. So I'm like, that's fine. Okay. I won't bug you with a 5 a.m. alarm. I'll go sleep on the couch. Not that, anything's bad, with our marriage or anything like that. But it's like, listen, I made the sacrifices. I'm like, listen, I was willing to get as uncomfortable as possible in order to reach my goal. Right. Because if I was going to do this and step on eggshells, which so many people do, I knew I was never going to get there. And that is so many people, like, it's these dream stealers. And, often they're not even doing it. They're not even doing it consciously, right? They're just there. They're doing it. And Fatima, like you said, they're often in the home. So you have to decide how how bad do you want it? And sometimes we have to look, and it's interesting because I've done cleanse coaching for years, part of the health regime. And I often tell clients, I'm like, listen, sometimes you just have to cleanse people that are closest to you. It hurts. But let me tell you, you have to ask yourself, who are you surrounding yourself with? And are they truly serving where you want to go? Because you know what? We all grow. And when we grow, we either grow together or we grow apart. And yeah, and that's something I put out to people, and it gets them very uncomfortable. People get very uncomfortable. And I've been very uncomfortable. I did not get to where I am by being comfortable. And, you know, and I would never want to hurt anybody intentionally. I'm not that much. Some people are so driven, they really don't care, like what they destroy in the journey. So there's a big difference between that though, and just kind of putting, you know, just putting your foot down a bit, right? Like have some courage. But here's the thing too, you guys, it starts with belief in yourselves. And this is the number one thing where people fall short on. Just like you said, Fatima, you wanted to become, you know, do a fitness competition, but you were too scared to share because you didn't want to put yourself into accountability, because what if you failed, right?
Right.
And that is, and that's, so many people don't want to do that. Do you know what I did immediately? I am so about accountability. I told anybody that would listen to me. It was so funny. I'm sure people were just getting so sick of me at the gym. And they're like, oh, how are you doing? Oh, fantastic. I joined this fitness competition, and you know what? I'm going to win it. I wasn't even saying I'm going to do my best. Oh, no. I was declaring I was going to win it. Like, that's the thing, is that what we put in our minds, you guys, if we don't believe it, if we truly don't believe it, how can you possibly make it happen? You have to at least believe there's a possibility of it making happen. If you keep going, well, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm like, yeah, well, guess what? Chances are you're not going to do it. If you're just going, you're going to try, right?
The mind is so powerful, what you're telling your mind. You know, people often say you tell yourself a lie for long enough, you believe it. And they often say it with a negative connotation. But there's also a positive to that. You tell yourself this for long enough, your mind starts believing it and starts giving you what you need and behaving in the way that you need to behave in order to achieve this desire.
Absolutely. And you know what? Do you mind if I share one more example? Because this was
absolutely. Go for it.
So when I started, okay, so for instance, so let's say somebody's going after a financial goal, right? So that's kind of like a physical goal, but let's say a financial goal. So here I remember making $7. My first check with this company, because I don't know, I shared a couple products, whatever. It was $7. And I was excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, I made $7. But I borrowed the belief of the people that had gone before me and made millions. And I knew, because I had such strong belief in myself, right? And do you see how often I've mentioned that is belief in self? Because you can have the perfect opportunity in front of you guys. You can have all the great mentors. You can have the time. You can have the money, the resources behind you. But honestly, if you don't have that personal belief that you can truly do this and crush this, guess what? It's not going to happen. You know, but when you have that burning desire, like that belief in yourself, that is like, you know what, I don't care what anybody else thinks. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm going to do with this. And I really don't give a shit what anybody else thinks. I'm going to do this. And if they don't believe in me, well, that's too bad, because they clearly don't see what I'm made of. I'm going to do this. You guys, that is the mindset I had all along. And I had never made more than $60,000 a year. Ever. I did not have a university degree. I did not, you know, I knew that I was very, very smart. I knew that I was capable of so much more. And so I looked at these other people that had made millions of dollars, and I declared, I'm telling you from the rooftops, I'm like, I'm going to give myself 5 years to earn $1 million in this company. I'm going to do it because I know I can do it. And guess what? I have all the resources here. They have everything there for me. It is just up to me to make sure that it can happen. And I believe in me. I can trust me. And you know what? It didn't. Okay, so it took me like just under 6 years. Who cares? The thing is, had I not told myself that or believed it, I mean, I was saying that when I had only made $7. So where are you? You know, if somebody's out there listening and they're looking at, you know, changing their lives financially, you guys, like, there is so much power in the mindset of going, oh my gosh, I don't care. I don't care if I have to stay up half the night to get it done. Right? I don't care if I don't have the money, all the money, you know, to invest. I'm going to go and have a garage sale, and I'm going to find it. I don't have the $500 to start, but you know what, damn it, I'm going to find it. You guys, those are the people that make it. Those are the ones that make it. There's no excuses, right? It's like, I'm going to find a way. I'm going to find a way. And I find those people so inspiring. And that's why I love filling my head with, you know, all these, so many different inspiring people out there. Right?
It's amazing. And you hear stories like this a lot, and they absolutely are inspiring. And you are a self-confessed strong person and strong woman. So I want to ask you, what do you say to the people, and we talked about the mindset that's needed, but what do you say to the people who don't have that self-belief? They do want a change. They really deep down want to change. They don't know how, and they don't have that self-belief. They're conditioned to have a lot of self-doubt, but they want to change it. What's your advice to them?
Oh, that's such a great question. It's almost like I knew you were going to ask that. So I am all about personal development, you guys. You can only, grow your income or, just grow your whole being as much as you're willing to grow yourself. And so many people go, well, I keep hearing that. So what do I do? What do I read? Like, what do I listen to? I have spent hours upon hours, as I'm sure you have as well, Fatima, because I know you've gone through a ton of personal growth as well. So I didn't get to where I am. But yes, I had a lot of self-confidence. I had a fabulous upbringing, even though we were very, very poor. But I always had instilled in me, it's like, listen, it doesn't matter how much money you have or how poor, or how poor we are or whatever. You can be whatever you want. So that's what I grew up with. Not everybody has that programming that they've grown up with, but we can change our programming. So one of the books that I always recommend, I'm a huge fan of Tony Robbins. Not everybody is, and that's okay.
Oh my.
Right. But I have a book. In fact, I'm looking at it right now because I remember buying boxes of these. So I would actually give them to certain team members that I felt needed that to start off with. Because I'm like, listen, I believe in you, but you have to work on believing yourself. So I need you to start reading Awaken the Giant Within. That's one of the first books I actually recommend to people to start, and it's not for everybody, but you have to start people somewhere. And here's the thing, you can get it on Audible. Maybe you don't like to sit down and read, or you can listen to this in your car. When I started on this journey, I never watched TV for 13 months. I would get up early. Every time I was folding laundry, I had a podcast. Every time I was driving, I would have, even if I had kids screaming in the car, right? There was always kids screaming in the car, but I would have earphones in, one earphone in, and I'd be listening to that, or I'd have them put earphones in, and I'd be like, Mommy's listening to something, okay? Like, you guys listen to your cartoons, and I'm gonna be listening to this. You gotta just make it happen. You just gotta make it work. So many people are like, oh, well, I don't want to take time away from my kids. I'm like, listen, I built this so my kids would have a better life, that we would have residual income coming in, that I could spend more time with them, right? Because so many people use their kids as an excuse, whereas my kids, to this day now, they're like, oh my gosh, Mom, we have learned so much from you. Like, you are so inspiring. We see what you do. We want to do the same thing as you. You see the cards my kids write beautiful. Me, right? But so many parents are, like you said, tied in this guilt that they don't do that. So another one is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I got to be honest. I couldn't make it past chapter 3 for the longest time, and then I started reading it more and more and more, right? And then The Master Key to Riches, also by Napoleon Hill. I listened to a ton of Jim Rohn. That's Rohn. He's no longer around, but his stuff is classic, you guys. Tony Robbins was mentored by Jim Rohn, for instance. So I listened to a lot of these guys, and Developing the Leader Within You, John Maxwell. I love The Go-Giver, Bob Burg. There's so many different resources. But
I love all of these books, Lisa. Right? And so many of my other guests have mentioned several of these books. So, success leaves clues, right?
Right. So that's what I would say to the person. And it's so interesting because I actually met with someone today, a gentleman, happily married. He was so just, his family, his children had gone to school. One was a lawyer, one was going into med school, all of this stuff. And he was just really feeling really, really down in terms of where he was career-wise, right? So he's looking at joining my business and whatever way. And we were chatting and he's like, but how? And he just had so much negative self-talk. He kept talking about, so positively about his children, about his wife, and he never wanted to give himself the credit, right? He was beating himself up the entire time. And I said, oh my gosh. So I identified immediately, like, this gentleman has so much potential, and I see so much within him. He just doesn't see it within himself. So I said to him, oh my gosh, I have a great mentor. He's got all these books. He's got an awesome recording. You know what? I'm going to send that to you because I want you to start listening to this. Right. And because I have to help him change the way he looks at himself. And I know once he does that, and sometimes it honestly, it just takes reading one chapter. Sometimes you just have to read something that it's kind of like a bat hits you upside the head. And you're like, oh my gosh, I do that all the time. Why do I keep doing that? Because there has to be that self-awareness. And often we're not aware of what we're even doing. Right. Yeah, we're not. So
walking around with blinkers in life, which is really
absolutely.
sad.
Absolutely. So it's just really about doing some tough work on yourself, right? That's where that's where it starts. And here's the thing, you guys, where does belief come in self? Like, it's all about confidence. And how do we become confident? We become confident by getting good at something. So I always say to people, I'm like, okay, I know that you're great at something. You might pretend that you can't do anything. I call BS on that. Let's start talking about what is it that you're really, really great at. Okay. And they might say, you know what? I can bake the best cookies. Nobody can bake these cookies the way I can. I'm like, great. And how do you feel? So when somebody calls you over to come over, do you offer to bring the cookies? All the time. I'm like, right, because you know that you're great at it, right? So it's like, you just have to, because you've practiced. Maybe maybe you blew the recipe who knows how many times, but you kept practicing and kept practicing, and all of a sudden you nailed it. And everybody was complimenting you on the cookies. So now all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, like I'm so confident in bringing these cookies because I know everybody's gonna love them. But here's the thing. Think about how many times you blew the recipe before. And this is people want perfection right out of the gate. You guys, write this down.
Instantly, right?
Oh my God.
Instantly.
You got to get messy before you get good. Write it down.
I love that. Got to get messy before you get good.
You got to get messy before you get good. Okay. You know what? And we're our own worst judges. Here's the thing. If you are going and acting with the right intention, and that's the thing, I'm all about serving. I don't get paid unless I'm helping somebody in what I do.
Isn't that a beautiful thing? You're right? Changing lives, and that's how you are rewarded.
That's right. And I always go, my pay is a reflection of how many thousand lives I've been able to impact, right? Because if I'm not coming from that place, I don't get paid. I just simply don't. And that model works very well for me. It's not for everybody, but for me, it works really, really well. And I mean, that's another thing, is finding that thing in life that, works for us. But think about practice. Think about the people, like, if you're terrified, most people are terrified to get up in front of a room, whether it's 3 people or, you're speaking in front of, 30, 300, 3,000. It's like, you guys, you got to start somewhere, and you have to get uncomfortable. But it's like working a muscle. I mean, we both work out, Fatima, so, we know this. But it's working that muscle. And yes, it's going to be so painful, and you're going to be sore, and it's going to be terrible when you first start, and you want to quit. But then you just keep at it, and it just becomes easier and easier and easier, and you just become stronger and stronger and stronger. It's no different if you're building a business or you set a goal of whatever, whatever it might be. It's just, but always remember that. Write it on a big sticky note. I've got to get messy before I get good. And
I really love that saying.
Right. And then, what I also do, and I do this with my team, and I learned this from somebody else at a presentation I went to. I get people to celebrate their wins, regardless of how big or small. So I'll do it in my transformation group, for instance, and I'll say, you guys, it's not about perfection. I want you guys to start celebrating and writing, oh my gosh, I have a hard time getting enough water. I drank all my water today, or, I drank 10 glasses of water today. #WinBox. So you can actually journal. You can take a journal if you want to just write this at night. And you guys, so it's kind of like a gratitude journal, right? But, gratitude is a little bit different than celebrating our wins. So, maybe start with your, 10 things that you're grateful for the day. Doesn't matter how big or how small. But you can also write down, what were your wins for the day? What did you do well that you're proud of? And I don't care how small it is, because all of those little things add up to big wins. Right?
Absolutely agree with that. And it's something that I always get my clients to tell me at the beginning of our sessions. What are your wins for the week? What are your wins for today? And it was one of my own mentors who did that with myself, and I really liked it. I thought that's a really good way to shift my focus onto what's working rather than what's not working in whatever area of life, or whatever area you've got a specific goal, like you mentioned before, career or health or fitness or anything.
Right. Absolutely. And it's so funny because nobody ever taught me that. It was funny because, and I actually have a win box. So it's really interesting. And this was my friend Pam Barnum. This is the person that shared this. And she said, you know what, because we all have bad days, right? And, we're all trying to win at something, or, whatever. We're, like you said, building a business, working on our physical, whatever it might be. And she said, when I'm having a down day, what I do is I go to my win box. And every time somebody has written me, a kind note or given me a card or, anything like that, I put them in this box. And she said, sometimes when I'm really feeling down on myself and, I'm just not achieving enough and I'm just not crushing my goals and I feel like I'm going backwards. She's like, I go to the box and I start reading. I start reading the notes in the box. And you might be sitting there and you go by a box and you go, nobody's ever written me a note. I don't even have one to read, right? When you start serving other people instead of just focusing on yourself, trust me, you will soon have a box full, because that's what happens.
And
so
it's
just remember that.
Such a beautiful feeling, isn't it? I know for me,
it's incredible.
Things that go in my win box, not that I have an actual physical box, but metaphorically speaking, my sons, I used to write notes for them when I was making those. We talked earlier about excuses, using your kids as excuses. I like to say, don't use your kids as an excuse not to do it. Use your children as an excuse to do it.
To do it.
Right.
Absolutely.
What you are going to create and what you have created for them in terms of opportunity. But not only that, the real gold, I think, is in the lessons that you are teaching them that they don't even realize they're learning until they're older, by chasing the goals, by turning that TV off for 13 months. You mentioned that you had your goal, you did your personal development, you didn't watch TV for 13 months. You listened to those podcasts while you're doing washing or driving and while you're parenting. You fitted it in where you could because you had a goal, you had a dream, you had a passion. You were teaching your children, how important it is and what it takes to achieve great things in life. And as a result, I think it's so beautiful that you're impacting so many lives through changing your own life.
Absolutely. And anybody is capable of doing that. It's all choices. One thing that drives me absolutely crazy is when people go, oh, you're so lucky. Oh my gosh, don't even get me started.
I don't believe in luck.
Oh, like I worked my butt off because I chose to, It's like, do you not think that I would have, I didn't even eat popcorn while I was transforming because I wanted to not only, win this competition, which I ended up getting second in, but whatever, didn't matter. I was a winner long before the end of the competition, but even getting my pro card, the amount of work that took and just the discipline. And popcorn is like my favorite snack. I'm like, it's my crack, right? And I knew that I couldn't resist popcorn. I could not go into a movie theater and sit there and watch a movie without eating popcorn. For me, I couldn't be around it. So I never even went to a movie. My family used to go to a movie and I used to tell them, listen, you guys, I'm so focused in on this goal and mommy loves popcorn so much that I know if I go, I'm just going to cave. So you know what? You guys go have a great time. I'm going to stay here. I really wish I was going with you guys, but you know what? We'll do something special when you guys get back. And so I never ate popcorn until I got my pro card, and that was my treat. So 10 months without any popcorn. And then 13 months.
Right. Powerful because you had a goal, and it's not about the popcorn, it's about the discipline and also recognizing your own weaknesses. And for me, it wasn't popcorn, it was chocolate. I mean, I would eat 3, 4, 5 chocolate bars a day, and then for a period there, I could still have chocolate, but one small chocolate bar once a week, and then no chocolate. And it may not have seemed like a big thing. So again, it's not about the chocolate, it's not about the popcorn, it's about the discipline and recognizing that, okay, I love popcorn so much that if I go to a movie theater, I know that I don't currently have the strength to resist it. So I'm going to remove that temptation. And to do that takes having the goal and being disciplined about achieving that goal and why you want to achieve it. So a really, really great message, again, that can be applied in any area of a person's life.
Oh, any area, right. And it all comes down to self-awareness. Again, that whole self-awareness piece. Because if you don't know what your crutches are, you don't know why so many people keep, they'll start. And I'll always say, like, are you a sayer or a doer? Do you just say things or do you actually act on them and doing them? Like, I want you to ask yourself that question. Are you a sayer or a doer? Because a lot of people, anybody can say anything, right? But do you have what it takes to actually do it? Big difference.
And I believe we all have what it takes to do whatever it is we decide we want to do, but it's a matter of deciding it and wanting it. And, okay, we spoke earlier about, and this was before we started the recording of the interview, we spoke about distractions from your path. So we're running out of time. So I really want you to talk to the listeners about being distracted from your path. So you may find this goal or this vision that you want to chase and follow, but there are always these little distractions, tempting you off your path. How do you deal with those? Because I know that you've had plenty of them.
Oh, yes, we were discussing this before. What I was saying in that was that even if you set a goal, it's okay to change your mind. So I want everybody to understand, and we were discussing this, you know, kind of pre-interview, is that because when, you know, when I embarked on this different journey, actually, after having huge success in my network marketing company, I started thinking, oh my gosh, you know what, maybe I need to be speaking on bigger stages. Maybe I need to be going around. Maybe I need to be, you know, getting in front of more people. And it had nothing to do with ego. It was more truly feeling like, was I truly stepping into my purpose? Had I stepped into my purpose enough? And, you know, so I was going through a whole year of a lot of, gosh, I tell you what, it was almost like this inner turmoil, and going through and traveling and here and there. And what I did discover in all of that, you guys, and it was, you know, it did cost me a fair bit of money, but I discovered that I had everything I wanted and more all along. So we can easily get distracted by, you know, all kinds of other shiny objects, other things, and people going, you know, and I had so many people going, oh my gosh, like you could earn millions just doing this kind of coaching and that kind of coaching, and you know, this and that. And I went, yes, I have no doubt that I can, but you know what? I have a real passion for working from home. Trust me, I love to travel. You know, but I want to travel when I want to travel, and I love to do it with my family. But here's the thing, is that I love to work with people that don't feel like they have to, you know, invest huge amounts of money, right? Because I know where I was at one time. So just to be able to empower and elevate people and mentor them, it's so rewarding for me. And that's, you know, going back to the Have It All girl that we were talking about, it was just, I just became so clear on everything and where I was going. And I went, oh my gosh, you know what? I truly do have it all for me. That was for me, and everybody's different, right? But yeah, getting back to the distractions, I wasted a lot of time, and there were a lot of people I could have been helping in that time. But you know what? Sometimes we just have to go embark on this this journey, this journey, and I wasn't beating myself up. There were so many lessons I learned in that I can now share with people that I'm mentoring and you know, from around the globe. And yeah, but the message is, it's like, guys, you know, I don't want you to jump all over the place, but it is okay to, you know, forgive yourselves. You don't have to, like, if you change your mind, that's okay. But you know what? Don't ever give up, and, you know, reset and look at going, okay, you know what? I thought I was supposed to go here, but that's okay. But always look at, it wasn't a waste. It wasn't a waste of time or money. Maybe you've bought courses you've thought you've wasted money on. You know, maybe you've gone to this place and you went, oh my gosh, why did I spend 3 days of my time at this conference or whatever? I can assure you, you guys, every place I went, every event, every business meeting, whatever, all the time that it took, even the dollars that I spent, there were learning lessons in every single moment. And so don't ever, you know, start feeling guilt around that. Go, you know what? This is just part of the journey, and start writing down all of the lessons that you learned in that time. But do know that there are tons of distractions, and you guys try and keep the main thing, because you'll always have people, especially as you start having a bit more success and people get to know you more. There's going to be a lot of people trying to steer you in different directions. So just be really clear on, you know, what excites you and what works best for you. Just because somebody else might want it for you, you know, really know in your heart what works best for you, and that's how you can have it all.
And that's a really beautiful message to finish off on. And I know yourself and myself and so many people listening, we have been distracted. But, you know, you keep focusing on your big goal, and you'll eventually come back to the right path. So thank you so much, Lisa. It's been incredible having you on the show and sharing all your wisdom with everyone that's listening. How can people connect with you? Where can we find you?
You know what? I'm a big Facebooker. So you can find me on Lisa Wolny, LisaWolny. If anybody would like a copy of my book, you can go to lisawolny.com, or you can get the e-version on Amazon. And on Instagram, I am at Have It All Girl. But, you know, if anybody wants to ever fire me off a message, Facebook Messenger is definitely the best way. The easiest way to reach me, for sure.
Beautiful. I'll make sure I pop those links into the show notes. Guys, I hope you have taken notes. I know that there has been something that has been a message for you in everything that was shared today, because there was so much gold. Self-awareness is so important. How do we get self-awareness? Personal development. If you want something, you're not sure what to do, where to start, the best place to start is really with personal development, because then you start getting that self-awareness and you open a whole vortex, and I'm sure Lisa agrees, and then you'll be on your way. So have an amazing day, and until next time, see you later. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I truly hope you have found it beneficial and have taken some value from it. Hopefully, a lot. If you did, please share this show with anyone you feel may need to hear it. I would also absolutely love if you would take a minute or two to review this show on iTunes, Stitcher, or whichever platform you happen to be listening to it on. With your help, we can accomplish my mission to positively impact 10 million lives. That would be so awesome. Now, if you want to connect with me or my guests on other platforms, or if you want to send me an email with questions or ideas of guests to interview, please check out the show notes. I am so incredibly grateful to have had your time today, and I can't wait to have you on the next episode. Have a great day.